All right, good afternoon and welcome to our third session in our seminar on education. I'd like to welcome you all once again to the Seattle Ghanaian SDA Church. My name is Sam, and I will be your partner this afternoon. And our special guest, I will not waste any more time. I know there's a lot of content to cover. So at this time, I'd like you all to welcome Dr. Okra.
Let's begin with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today, for your blessings. As we gather this afternoon, may your Spirit be with us, guide us, to teach us, to do your will. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. I'm going to be moving around a little bit. Hopefully, it's okay. I have this podium, so if I need to rest something, I can rest. We are going to continue from where we stopped yesterday evening. And actually, we kind of continue this morning with worship hour. And the topic is navigating the American education system for success. That's what we've been talking about. Let's see. This thing working? Is it on? Is it, let's see. Far enough? Oh, okay. So it worked, I think. No? But which screen am I looking at? Let's try it again. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, it should be good. Okay, thank you. All right, as I said, my name is Peter Okra. I live in Arizona, but I'm also a Ghanaian. I'm not a teacher, I'm an engineer. I was trained as an engineer and I work as an engineer. We're going to talk about why I end up where I am right now. I mentioned a little bit this morning. Let's see, our summary that we're covering is cause of standard achievement, what happens to our kids, what it takes so that they can be successful, and then we're going to talk about game plan. The presentation today, this afternoon, is going to be two parts. The first part, I'm going to go through very quickly. I want you to get a chance to ask questions. So I think those who are online, you can start joining out your questions so that time comes you can ask. You may put in the chat. I think they're going to keep track of the questions, comments, all those things, so they let me know. The first part is answering some of the questions that I raised last night. And then the second part of the presentation this afternoon, we'll be talking about the program that I've been doing for 25 years, how I've been doing it. And hopefully that will answer a lot of questions for you. So I start again with the 3 verses that I gave yesterday, which is the foundation. Behold, beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things, though everything God wants to prosper. The second is, behold, children are a gift of the Lord. So our children are a gift that God has given us that we need to be entrusted. And then Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves an inheritance to our children's children. And as you know, in the cultures of that day, you left inheritance to your children. You didn't leave inheritance to your children's children. But why does the Bible say that? Be very plain. I remind my kids all the time that all the benefit that they're enjoying right now, that they got, Dad, can I have some money? That is because of their grandparents. Because they send us to school, my wife and I on both sides, and that's why we become the point where they get to enjoy all those benefits. So they're enjoying the inheritance of their grandparents. So the question that we ask ourselves is, what inheritance are we leaving to our grandchildren? Let's see. Somebody click something? Okay. All right. Hopefully I'm still on track. Okay, good. Let's see. I think when I move over here, I can click and everything goes. Okay. So if you look at critical transitions, you start with, say, kindergarten. And actually, girls actually enter kindergarten more prepared than boys. And almost kind of continues on the boys want to be masculine. And then you get from primary school to middle school, then you start seeing even a bigger gap between the the girls and the boys, because the girls actually able to read earlier than the boys. And if you look at learning, first of all, you have to learn to read. And then from by grade 4, you have to read to learn. And so that's the reason why some school districts actually had a requirement that you need to read above a certain level before you can go to the next grade. And of course, when COVID happened, all those requirements were thrown away. So you have kids who couldn't read that were promoted to the next grade, and then everything compounded from it. That's why I showed some data yesterday about how since COVID, kids are performing worse in grade 4 and grade 8. And then the gap, like I said, middle school gap widens. Part of it is that because boys actually start spending more time playing sports in the middle school, and so they start falling more behind. And by the time that they get to high school, it's even worse. But boys who have male role models, it doesn't have to be parents that directly, but male role models that are educated, are able to direct them and help them, and they actually do very well. That's why I always say, that it's parents. There are all kinds of ways that boys fall behind. They play more video games, they spend less time reading. All those things are things that do affect them. More aggressive, don't want to follow directions, don't do their homework, all those sorts of things. I think those of you who have boys, probably you see some of the difference in between your boys and your girls, right? So you see that. So all these things come in. Computers, they're spending more time in their video games and playing video games, computer games, whatever. And as I said, that spending more time with a computer does not make you a computer scientist. In fact, if you want to learn about computers, probably at the early age, you need to spend more time doing some math, learning math very well, doing a lot of reading, and then solving puzzles, and then also critical thinking skills. Those are things that actually make you a computer scientist, not because you spend all your waking hours playing with computers. No, you can look at video games, and you're going to go through this. All these sites will be available. But the point I want to make here is that, the video games, it takes kids' attention away. And in fact, parents, if you like, you can do an experiment. Just walk to a kid who's on the phone, playing something, and just tell them something. They're responding, ask them a question. They're going to say, like they heard you. They had absolutely nothing. And so they don't have attention. These are things that, and also by sitting down in front of the computer, back in the village where we go to run around, right? You're exercising. Climbing the trees. Somebody would say about climbing the mango trees and the orange trees, all those, playing the field. Now you sit in front of a computer or your phone or whatever. They sit in one place, and one of their favorite food they like is Cheetos. Now those snacks are made in such a way that it has a certain combination of salt, fat, and sugar in it, whereby when you're eating it, it actually bypasses your brain. It goes straight into your stomach, and so you never get a sense that you're full. By the time you realize you're eating a whole bag full of chips, guess where all that's going to end up? So you got kids that are overweight, they're diabetic, all those things, because they're sitting there doing absolute no exercise. And then the whole thing about these computer games, all the video, all the screens, all this stuff, is to capture your brain, literally. So you're focused on that, and you can't do anything else. So those are some of the downsides. So we need to limit how much time our kids are spending on these devices, not helping them. Students who enjoy reading actually perform significantly better than students who don't like to read. I say, you learn to read, and then you read to learn. And so when you miss that, because the more you read, the more you improve your vocabulary skills, more understanding of even sentences and structures. Because you think that, I'm going to be an engineer or whatever. You're going to read a lot. It doesn't matter which field that you end up in. So being able to read very well, understand things, is very, very important. Okay? Now, sadly, boys are less likely to read than girls. Self-regulation. Okay, you need to be able to sit still. In fact, the best performing students are good students. The one who will sit down and listen to the teacher, do the homework, do the things that require. Those do well. So you need to be a good child. Follow directions, and that requires self-regulation. That is like, okay, some people, the teacher tells them something, they don't really want to listen. So how are they going to learn? So you need to be able to control their anger, their emotions, all those things. And those are things that get exacerbated by all those video games. Some of them are actually quite violent. And those things affect the children's brain. Here's something that's very interesting. You talk to a lot of these, in fact, there's a New York Times reporter wrote a piece when the iPad first came out. And Steve Jobs was the CEO of Apple. And what happened is the way they refer to that, if you write an article about Apple and Steve Jobs doesn't like you, actually will call you and correct you, whatever. So in one of those articles that he'd written when the iPad first came out, I guess Jobs didn't like it too much, so he called him. And so in their conversation, so he asked Steve Jobs that, okay, so your house might be a technology house. Your kids, how they like the iPad, he said, my kids don't use it. His house, so you talk to, you see, go check it out. A lot of these technology leaders, they limit how much technology their kids use, even including the stuff that they're selling you. And so the whole idea is to capture your brain, okay? And when it captures you, you have no self-regulation. And we have, like a parents, you got your child is, or how I do. You just hand them your iPhone and then they go away, right? Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Something is not helping me. Okay, all right. Okay. Now, I talk about stereotype by teachers, okay, about how they view students. Whether you're black, you're Asian, white, it is very important how it affects students. Because somebody thinks that you're dumb, you will begin to believe it. And in fact, they will not even give you the resources that you need. And even when you ask questions, they will dismiss your questions. And then after a while, you become self-conscious. Like, okay, I don't want to say anything. Not knowing that all the students in the class actually have the same problem that you're having. And so those things are, it happens. Things like sports. You got a black boy who's a big, tall guy. Everybody, all the coaches think that you should be playing basketball, playing football. In fact, there's a story. I remember this parent had a son who's like, if you look at him from the back, you think that's an old guy, right? You look at his face, he's a young guy. He's a big, tall guy, very healthy. And in the middle school, the coaches, the basketball coach wanted to play basketball. The football coach wanted to play football. The mother was adamant that she doesn't want him to play ball. And so it became a big fight in the house, right? So eventually, the dad, trying to referee between them, came to an agreement that, okay, I'll let you play, but your first injury, you're out. Now, she's a nurse. So one day, she got a call that the son is injured, and he's being sent to the hospital. So the mother is running there. I mean, she's scared. Doesn't know what has happened. Playing football with a head injury, paralysis or whatever. So she gets to the hospital where the son had been taken, and it's very interesting. He broke his leg, twisted his leg, and she praised God that it was his leg, not any major injury. But here's the other part of it. What was the deal? No more. So think about it. The boy goes on, went to college and graduated and all this and stuff. Again, yes, sometimes there's some disagreement, but you have to work through that. You have to come to a good understanding. Sometimes we give our boys more freedom than the girls. That we think that the boy is gonna be fine, right? We'll be fine, but we try to protect our girls. Try to protect. maybe we should be doing the same thing with our boys that we do with our girls. Make sure that they are also protected. Assuming that they can take care of themselves, that's what gets them into trouble. That's why you see a lot of young black men in prison. They raised in the same household. So why is the girl going to college, doing all these things, and the brother is in prison? Same mother, same father, same house, ate the same food, drank the same water. Because of the guidance that we gave him. Talk about friends and make sure that your children got good friends. Now, lately the girls are some of them are doing just as worse as the boys, but still there's a huge gap between the boys and the girls. So here's the part of it that the parents, guidance. You have to guide your children. You have to have role models for them. Whether it's the church, the community, friends, whatever. They need that. The fact that they will take care of themselves, I always tell people that you don't want the police, you have to know where your children are. Because you don't want the police to knock on your door in the middle of the night. Because when they knock on your door in the middle of the night about your child, there's one or two things. Your child is either in prison or dead. If you're lucky, maybe in a hospital. So you want to make sure that you don't get those calls. You don't get those knocking on your doors in the middle of the night. Another thing for young people, the internet, you all love posting all kinds of stuff. Even when you delete them, they're still there. They are permanent record. And so think seriously before you post anything, before you share anything, before you text your friend anything. Because I guarantee you that it's going to come back to haunt you someday. Because what you deleted is still there. It's still in Google's computers, Apple's computers, Facebook's computers, the Chinese computers, everywhere. So don't think that I deleted it and it goes away. And anything that you do and post, let me give you an example. Now this happened in a school district. I live in Chandler, and our school district is Tempe Unified High School District. And one of the high schools, there's a Vista High School close by. It's probably the most whitest of all the white schools that we have in our district, because they have most of the white students. Now, the senior class of 2016, for the yearbook, they were going to take this picture, and they had these, everybody wearing the same T-shirt, and some of them had these letters in front of it, to make a statement. So they take this picture, statement that would be in the yearbook. Now, one of the girls convinced her friends to pick certain letters, okay? Certain letters. And then they stood in line and took a picture of themselves and posted it. Now, those of you around, I'm not going to say the word, but I'll give you enough hint to know. These are white girls, and the letter begins with N, and it ends with R, and something you don't want to call a black person. That's what they spelled, and they posted it online. So all of a sudden, it's gone all over the world. The local TV station shows up on the campus in the Phoenix. All of them showed at the radio station. The principal trying to figure out what's going on in my school. They said, see, this is what you posted just a couple hours ago. And this was in the spring of their senior year. A lot of schools that they've been accepted to rescinded the admission that they're giving them the scholarship. Today, you can go online, this is 2016, you can go online and you can find the pictures, and after they put it up there, initially, the newspapers and the TV stations, all those the websites, kind of blurred their faces. And somebody said, wait a minute, why did you blur their face? When they posted the picture, it had their clear faces. So we're just going to leave it as they posted it. And shortly, less than 2 hours later, all their names, because everybody know who they are, all their names were attached to those pictures. You can go online today, and you will find that. The pictures are still there. And you will find that in websites, including newspapers in Pakistan and India and Uzbekistan, all kinds of places. Quote unquote, they are famous permanently. Do you want to be that famous? So don't do that. Okay? And then you go look for a job, they're looking on your stuff that you posted, all those things. Now, just think about it, that you have worked so hard, you got into Harvard. And Harvard rescinded your admission. That happened a few years ago. Because these boys, there was a website that the university had created so that new freshmen coming, they can start sharing information. They start posting some racist and sexist stuff on that website, and Harvard said, well, this is not the students we want here. They rescinded their admission. Now, this wasn't a spring. They already been, so where are they going to go? Now, here's something. They couldn't appeal because what Harvard said that you are not yet a student because you haven't enrolled yet. So you don't get a chance to go through the academic process to appeal anything. 10 students lost their admission to Harvard. You don't want that. Parents, you need to put down your devices. In fact, they're saying that the parents are actually spending more time on their devices than the kids. And in fact, that's also affect how they relate to their kids because you also get the same attention problem. So put that, and without cutting back on how you are taking care of the girls, you also help the boys. You need to teach them the same way you teach the girls about responsibility, all those things. Don't make excuses for the boys. Now, I've seen that in my program. I have students where, you got a parent got 2 kids, right? And you got a girl, and the girl is always on time, but then they start making this, the boy doesn't turn in work, the mother will call and say, oh yeah, he was doing this, and I'm so sorry. But you don't see that happening, making those excuses for the girls. Let's stop making excuses for the boys. Maybe we need to hold them responsible. Because if we don't hold them responsible, somebody's going to hold them responsible down the line. It may not be somebody who likes them. At least I assume you like your kids. So that means that you're going to hold them responsible now to pay attention to what's going on, what you're trying to teach them, make sure they do it. And make sure that you have to know who your children's friends are. I showed this yesterday, the national report card, which shows how students are performing since, so 2019 was assessment before COVID. Now this covers, I think they use 110,000 students that they did this test across the country and several school districts, every state. And what it shows is that since COVID, kids are doing worse. They haven't recovered, in fact, gotten worse. So the question is that the parents, you cannot assume that, oh, they're doing well. And so you have to step in and look at the reading. And I told you that a 1-point drop is equivalent to 3 weeks loss of learning. And so 8 weeks in grade 8 math is equivalent to 120 days. And the school year is only 180 days. So that's how much your kids are behind. And I showed you the card for the state of Washington. I think, let's see. Somebody help me. Okay, there we go. Okay, and Washington State. And you look at 8th grade math, they're down by 12. That means that the average student in the state of Washington in grade 8 is average 1 year behind in math. The question is that what are you doing for your child? And here's something I want you to do. Students are behind, so we need to find out where our children are. And look at that, put in the bold. Good grades are not a good measure of learning. Parents are so happy their kids got an A, but we don't figure out, do they learn anything? In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And so what we have to do is that we need to supplement the work that the kids are doing to make sure that they're doing work at a grade level. If the child's in grade 8, make sure they're doing grade 8 work. We're going to talk about how you do that. You need to supplement their work. Yesterday, I stopped by the Costco. I always like to visit different Costco, different states, because they usually have something more interesting. But yesterday, I found a bag of honey roasted peanuts that I don't find at Costco in Arizona. But something that I always do, I went to where they have the books, all the stuff. They got all kinds of supplemental books. Previously, the grade supplemental book, they used to bring them out just before summer. Now they have them there year round. So you go there, they have pre-K, K, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pick those books and start your kids working through those books. That will give you a pretty good indication. So if your child in grade 4, pick the grade 3 book and see how quickly they ran through the exercises and they're able to do it. Then give them the grade 4 book and start working them on that. And then go to the grade 5 book. And definitely you have to make sure you have a supply of those workbooks plus reading books for the summer. Summer will be here before you know it. You need to read, and you need to monitor their progress. In fact, when you do those supplemental books, the answers to those exercises are on the back. Read those pages out of the book, and then you can check when you give them the book to do the work, to check to make sure that how they do. Okay? And you have a plan to follow that they're making progress. It covers math, it covers English, geography, social studies, a bunch of different topics. So here's what you can do to perform assessment. There are school-provided tools that you can use to assess how your kids are doing. There's online platforms that you can use, and then sometimes you need a specific area, like math, reading specifically. There are tools to do that. And most of these are available for free. But here's something that is very, very important. You need to be communicating with your teachers. If you didn't go to the parent-teacher meeting when school started, make an appointment to meet your child's teacher. Make sure that you go there regularly. Find out how they're doing. Because, see, then the teacher will think that your child's education is important to you. When you call them, if their issues are right, they'll contact you. But they don't teach it, never met you. You never show up for parent-teacher meeting. You don't any curriculum nights or any of those things. You don't volunteer at the school. Well, they don't know you. So you need to make sure that you need to focus on holistic development. That is all aspects of the child's life. And when you get these results, interpret them carefully. Like, for example, some districts have tests that they give their students and they send you a report. If you don't understand them, ask the teachers, ask the principal, ask somebody else who's familiar with the system to explain to you. So let's look at some of the school tools that you can use to assess where your kids are. The first thing is the report card, right? You get the report card. So you see what the child did in the different classes, the grades that the child got. Some school districts, sometimes if it's not too big, they may add some notes to it. But so look at it and see how they're doing. Talk to the teacher and say, okay, how's my child doing in class? And be honest about it. Because most teachers, if you were to ask how your child is doing, they don't want to get themselves in trouble. Oh, your child is doing wonderfully. And it may not be true. But you see, with somebody you've been in regular communication with, they'll be able to share some details. In fact, if your child starts misbehaving in class, they'll probably contact you and say, you need to talk to maybe, is there something going on? So you have to be engaged in them. There's a school platform. Most of the schools now, they put everything online. So you know what they covered in class, what homework they gave them. You need to be checking those things. Give me a second. You need to be checking and see how they're progressing. They did turn the homework. If you're there, okay. There's update how they're doing in the class. The parent-teacher conferences, show up. In fact, if you don't have to wait for them to schedule them, you can actually schedule your own. You can make an appointment with the teacher that want to talk to the teacher, see how your child is doing. Standardized tests. You know, not some schools, some districts, some states have different tests that they give them. Some of them are district tests, and so you see how your child is comparing with the class in the district. Some of them are state or national tests. So not only you looking at their score, but look at how your child compares with other students, either in the district, in the state, in the country, how they are doing. And if you don't understand the result, talk to the teachers, and they'll be able to explain it to you. There are online learning platforms. Khan Academy is a very great resource. There's a lot of math. Every child should be there. Every parent should be there. And in fact, when you're there, you do that, go there every day. And you keep track of it. You log in every day, keep track of it. And the parents, you can also have an account on it. And you can see exactly where your child, and I just send you email reports. And in fact, here's what I used to do. The way that I used to measure is that, you go over there and you're on it, and it tells you how much time your child spent on it. Now, basically, didn't have a very good way of measuring it. So some students would just log in, and they just stay on there for some time. But it's a very good way to tell. As a parent, when you log in and you look at your child's stuff, if you spend 30 minutes and I don't see any exercises done, you know that we're playing. So these are tools for you, but again, it also helps by the grade level. So if, for example, order of operations in grade 5 stuff, and your child's not able to do that, then your child is in grade 6. There's a problem there. Those are a very good tool for you. There are learning applications that are available that you can use. There's so many of them. There are digital learning platforms, like I said. For example, K5 Learning, they have a whole lot of worksheets that you can download for different topics, different math topics, English, reading, all the stuff that are free that you can use to work with your kids. Again, there's plenty of stuff available. If you don't know, ask. Okay, ask. You can ask even the teachers, even they will help you out. Some of the districts, I remember during the COVID time, a lot of the states actually create portals where they put a lot of information there, a lot of links to other places. I'm sure most of them are probably still there that you could use to help your kids. So, again, there are plenty of things available to help us along the way. But if you don't know, ask. Sometimes we don't want to ask. We keep it to ourselves. Okay, there are reading assessment, there are tools for child reading level, and a lot of those are available at school. Like, for example, the accelerated reader is available in a lot of school districts. They use some form of reading. That's how they used to assess students about their reading level. One of them is Fantas and Pinnell. So ask the school district, ask the teacher, ask the principal, and so that you can assess where your child is in terms of reading. I said there are math practice platforms. I talk about Khan Academy and K5. There are a lot of apps that are available, and there's something that also help with your child's learning style, all those things. But the point is, you have to start someplace. You have to start working with your kids, and there are plenty of tools to help you. Like I said, go to Khan Academy, and the stuff that your child's supposed to have learned. Look at the textbook that they give. If they can't do it in grade 5, they're in grade 6, they can't do grade 4 stuff, there's a problem that you need to work on. So here's the grade expectation. So if you generally just think about it, the pre-K and K, basically they want the kids to be able to sit still. In fact, when COVID happened, after COVID, all the studies were about students, how their performance gone down, all those things. And they began to see problems with kids who are now starting school. And they realized these are kids who were born, but they were about 2 years old that COVID happened. So the idea of being able to play with other kids didn't happen. So they're home with their parents. The parent is busy trying to work. And so a lot of interactions that take place did not happen. So now these kids are not coming to school. So the sort of thing they will have learned about sit still, play nice, all those things were not there, which also affecting their learning. So that's what, and then grade 1, 2, and 3, essentially your beginning of math and the reading, and they started tracking your kids by 3rd grade. In our school district, they tested the students in grade 3 for giftedness. And so when my kids, when they were in grade 4 and 5, they were not taught math by their classroom teacher. They went to a separate classroom when it was math time. And they were taught by a teacher who actually had a master's degree in math. Now, the reason why she was teaching primary school is that her husband was a dean at Arizona State University. I think they have 5 kids. So she needed something a little lighter. So you got somebody who has a master's degree teaching primary school kids in math. By the time they got to middle school, they were 2 grades ahead in math. So by the time they got to high school sophomore year, they could run through the SAT and the ACT math with no problems. You see how the system works. So make sure that you're paying attention to, if they have a tracking system, that you understand what it is. I had a parent call me from Maryland a few years back and said that she was mad because her son, who's a very smart kid, come home complaining that the teacher gives the students additional work, but they don't give him additional work. And this was a school district which was mostly white, thinking that maybe it was racism. And I said, well, before he do that, let's talk through this. Are there some testing that we're giving the kids? I don't know. I said, we better go ask. Well, here's what happened. When she went and talked to the teacher, basically those testing, a lot of times the schools, actually the parent had to sign for your child to be tested. And so all the stuff that they bring home in your backpack that you just grab all the junk and dump it in the trash, please look through them before you dump them in the trash. Because what happened was that they had sent a form that she needed to sign for the child to be evaluated. She didn't read that. So the teacher was surprised that this child did not turn it, because he knew that it was good. Student did not turn it in to be tested for the. So since he wasn't tested, the teacher couldn't give him additional work. Fortunately, the district had an option where you can take the child to the district office and get evaluated, so you start getting additional work. So they start tracking those kids. So understand, go to the school's website, see gifted program or whatever extra stuff that they have there, and make sure that you're following those things. Again, grade 4 and 5, I say tracking for middle school, and then middle school. In fact, our school district, when you were in grade, before you get to high school, grade 8, there was a test that they had to take. And those who have been tracked earlier, then they automatically get in there. But the score that you make on that test in grade 8 is what determines whether you could take honors courses in high school or not. So again, you need to find out what is going on in your school. And you get to high school, you're getting ready for college. Okay? Let's see. So now beyond high school, we talked about college. Talked about it's not just academic, it could be vocational. And how well you do in high school is going to determine where you're going to go to college and how much money that you're going to get to pay for it. You get more career choices, then from there to professional school or graduate school. And the key to success is dedication by the parents, by the students, etc. There are some barriers that you cannot change the fact that you're black. There's going to be some discrimination on that, but you can overcome those things. And that's the part that we need to remind our kids. That's why yesterday I talked about, well, the SAT is biased against black people. I said, how can algebra be biased against black people? It makes absolutely no sense, but you hear that even some people who are educated. Because, just a short, I know that I don't want to talk too long, but I was at one of our Ghanaian churches back east. I'm not going to name the place. This is a few years back. And, I was visiting some cousins, so after the church service, we went there to eat our jollof rice. And you know how Ghanaians do in the big places, the men sit together, right? And the women sit together, right? So I'm sitting there with the guys, and one of the gentlemen said, Dr. Okro, our kids, something that I don't understand. Our kids, they do well in school. They get all these awards and all these things. But when it comes down to college time, they don't get that much scholarship. Is that, because they're black or something? I said, before I go there, let me talk to some of these kids just to find out. This was about May, so I know that they had just taken SATs. So I said, who are the students that you have in grade 11? And let me talk to them. So I talked to some of them, and I said, find out those who had just taken the SAT. And I asked them, how did you all prepare for it? Oh, well, the school gave us this booklet. The school registered us for free, and they gave us this booklet to go read, and they went and took the test. I was like, huh? How are you going to score high on the SAT, and all they do is they give you a free test, and they give you a booklet, and that's all you got? People have been spending years and some of them tens of thousands of dollars preparing their kids. I said, here's the problem. When your kid, so I said, if I'm an admission officer, and I look at your transcript, you got all these A's, a whole bunch of A's and a few B's. It means you're an A student. But I look at your SAT score, and it's poor. It's a C average score. I will discount your grades. Because, see, over here, the school system is like in Ghana, whereby we took the same O-level. So whether you went to Pokuare, I'm not going to say Prempe, or you went to Antoine Secondary School, the O-level math, if you get a 1, it's a 1, because we all what? Took the same test. Here you can't say that. Even in the same high school, even the same, because you don't even have the same teachers. So you cannot compare performance. So if you're an A student on a transcript, then you better have A test scores to match that. In fact, when you look at the admission process, if they have 2 students, one who had excellent grades and poor test scores, and one who had very good test scores and not so great grades, you know which one they're going to pick first? The one who has a better test scores. Because they can compare that student with all the students across the country. And so that is something that is very, very important. It requires that we are doing work to help ensure their success. As I say, grades is not equal learning. The fact that your child got A in algebra doesn't mean your child knows algebra. You want to test them out, go get an algebra test packet and let them do that. Let them go on Khan Academy and go to the algebra section and start answering the questions. If they can answer those questions, yep, they know algebra. I work with students who are in grade 8 right now. They cannot do order of operations. But in grade 8, what are they doing? Barely minimum in this country, they're doing pre-algebra. And some of them are probably supposed to be in algebra. I ask myself, what are they learning in algebra? And order of operations is grade 5 stuff. That's why you see that report that I just showed you about the kids behind. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. All right. So again, we look at the metrics. I talk about the district, the state test, the national test, the PSAT. If you're in high school, they should take the PSAT, which is given. You can take it in grade 9. Some school districts don't let grade 9 students take it, but at least grade 10, you'll be able to see where they are. And when you look at any test, there's some that's in there, and I showed that yesterday, called percentile. It will show you, it's not just a raw score. Because like I told you that the SAT is scored between 400 and 1600. Okay? Now somebody will say, if everything was flat, right, then you can say that if you got 800, you're halfway, right? If you got 800, you're at the bottom 25%. So you look at the percentile, where do you compare with other students in your grade, in your class? So if you're below 50%, at least you're 50%, you're average. But you want to be average because the Bible tells us that our kids should be what? 10 times better. Time management. We need to help our kids manage time. My students, I meet with the parents on the first day of class, and I was telling them that they're going to have some homework after class each day. And one mother said, well, the kids these days, they are very, very busy. I said, okay, let's do a little arithmetic. I said, okay, your child is in school 180 days a year. So let's take the average day. Your child goes to school for about 6-7 hours. So the day is what, 24 hours, right? I said, okay, go to school. Okay, 7 hours, right? Okay, your child sleeps the normal sleeping. They don't stay up all night. They sleep for 8 hours, right? So let's add 8 plus 7. That is 15. Okay, so how many hours we got left? 9 hours. I said, okay, can you tell me what your child does for the other 9 hours? And you begin to see that there's plenty of time to do work. Are they spending that time doing work at a certain time? On their devices, in front of their computer, all those things. So we have to make sure that our kids are using their time wisely, not just watching TV, playing games, whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with being able to do those things, but those become the thing that when a child is sitting up doing homework at midnight, there's something wrong. The teachers will not give you that much homework that it takes you 5-6 hours to complete. It's not likely. Watch what your kids do. And when they're doing the homework, okay, they have the computer sitting over there, they have their phone sitting over there, and they spend all the time to go look at the homework a little bit. Let them put the device away, turn it off, and let them do the homework. See how fast that they complete their homework, and how good a job that they will do doing that homework. So here's a question for you, parent. Do you visit your child's school? Do you know your child's teachers? Do you check your child's homework? Now, here's what you check. When your child comes home, when you come home, your child is there. Don't ask your child, have you done your homework? That's a wrong question. Don't ask that question. Because if you ask your child, have you done your homework, I guarantee you 99% of the time, they will say yes. So what you do is that you ask them a question, can I see your homework? They're going to run so fast. So you need to check your, do you monitor their progress? We were talking about it earlier, about their grades, checking with the teacher. What do you plan for your child's future? I told you the question. What do you want your child to be when they grow up? Do you know your kids' friends? One of the things that, in fact, there was one case in the New York area. This boy was very, very lucky. It was summertime, and that's when kids, particularly young boys, get into trouble, like teenagers get into trouble. These three guys come to him. One of them got in the car, like mom's car, whatever. Can we get? Well, let's go play ball. So they go and play ball, all day, and then they're tired. So after they left the basketball court, they're driving back home. Right? He's sitting in the back seat. He fell asleep. All of a sudden, he woke up, frantically, like, well, what's going on? So this guy is driving the car real fast, whatever, and look around, realize that the cops were chasing him. Eventually, the cops cornered him. And with the gun drawn and everything, this boy is trying to figure out what is going on. He was asleep in the car. Well, it turned out that on their way home, one of the boys had an idea they're going to rob the convenience store. And went and robbed the convenience store. And so that's why the cops were chasing him. Now, in most states, he would have been at fault just like the other kids. The only thing that saved him was that they said, oh, he was asleep. They didn't know what was going on. Now, you see, think about it. Another thing, they could have even put it on him, and he wouldn't know anything. So you have to make sure you know who your friends are. And I said, are you planning for your children's future? Because the college is going to cost you money. So make sure you start saving money to help your kids. So here's the basic. The basic, you need to encourage your kids to read, as I said, by learning to read and then reading to learn as early as possible. Take them to the library. In fact, but they even have reading stuff at the library for little kids. And if your child can write his own name, they give the child a library card. And when you go to the library, the books are arranged by different age group, grade level. And by the way, it's your tax dollar at work. At least you might make good use of it. Talk to your child. Just talking to them. The scripture that we read this morning. Communicate with them. Teach them. You're going out, coming in, sitting down, laying down. All those things, right? Find out what's going on in their life. What are friends? What's going on at their school? All those things. You need to listen to them. Help them to manage their time. Okay, don't let them spend all their time on that iPhone that you're paying $100 for them. You know why I say $100? Because the iPhone you got it and say, oh, you get 24 payments, right? And the phone costs $1,000, right? Plus the service at least $30-$40 a month, right? Monitor their homework, and then monitor their progress throughout the whole year. Their TV, the video games, monitor those things. Encourage your child to use the library. It's your tax dollar. Help your child to use the internet properly, all those devices that they have. Encourage your child to be responsible, work independently. But this requires work, and you have to do the work. Encourage active learning, because like learning, I had a student, one of my former students who had gone to pharmacy school, and after she graduated, take the pharmacy board, and they said, well, some of the questions that she had to take the test. So, listen, I don't understand all these things, how they calculate this stuff. And so I said, I never went to pharmacy school, but let me take a look at some of these questions. And then I look at the question, as she described to me, I think I had I said, could you show me one of those questions? As soon as she showed me, I said, oh, that's a mixture problem question. I said, what do you mean by mixture? I said, well, you remember who we did back in grade 8, grade 10, where we did mixture problem, which is a question of, like, for example, if you go to the grocery store and you look at nuts, right? If you got a jar of peanuts, it has a certain price. You got a jar of, say, macadamia nuts, it has a different price. If they mix the nuts, it has a different price. So how do you mix them so that you can decide what the price is? The same they do if you go to a hospital. You go there, you see that a nurse will hook up a tube to somebody. They got the medicine on one vein, and then the saline solution, and then they turn some knobs and then mix them right into. Well, the concentration, the medicine that come from the factory, the pharmacies, are the same concentration. The mixture that they're doing is for an adult or a child, and if they make a mistake, they're going to kill somebody. And so the whole thing is how do you mix? And that was the question on that test. And so we went back to the stuff that we did back years back and realized actually the simpler way of actually solving those questions. Okay. Now that was back to learn. The same thing if you go to the store, you want to buy apples, and the apple is what? $1.50 a pound, and you buy 3 pounds, how much you have to pay. It's the same sort of things that you do in algebra, arithmetic, all those things. Schoolwork with tutorials and workbooks and all those things. We talked about that. Now, you need to establish rules, and you need to be able to enforce those rules. If there's a certain time your child's supposed to be doing homework and the phone needs to be put away, make sure that is done. If it's not done, if you say that we're going to take the phone away for a week, make sure you do that. Because when you don't, well, I'm going to push the boundaries, right? You give me a yard, I'm going to take a mile, right? But if you I gave you a yard and then you got to the yard and I say you can't go beyond that yard, eventually they kind of get the message that that's not going to happen. You need to enforce those rules. And then ask for help, because sometimes, in so we wouldn't tell what was going on so that we can get the help that we need. So for the students, there are two things, attitude and aptitude. The attitude is what you think about something. Is it important? If you think something is important, you're going to do it. And then the aptitude, which is the capability. Maybe something that you don't know. You're going to get that knowledge because you're going to have the right to that I want to learn. So I want to do what it takes to learn it. So you want to learn all you can, and you take responsibility. 20 years from now, you cannot blame your parents. Even if your parent did not help you, guess what? You are the one living your life. And so you need to take responsibility, and you stay away from idiots. And I show you the scripture that it's not me saying to stay away from fools. It's the Bible that tells you that you should stay away from fools because they're not going to help you. Now, somebody asked a question yesterday about adults going back to school. It is not easy. It's very difficult, challenging. You got kids to take care of. You got spouses. You got bills. You got the people back home calling you thinking that America has money growing on trees or maybe flowing out on the streets, all this stuff. But again, if you think that your time is past, it's not. You still got time to do it, and you should do it. It's not easy. You're not alone. You can do it. You have to just put your mind to it and take it one step at a time. We'll show you a couple examples, okay? A couple of people who chose to do it, okay? Let's look at the first one. Hopefully. Okay. This is article in 2007. Nola Oaks. Everybody tell me how old that woman was? 95 years old, graduating from college. She started taking little classes when her husband died in 1972, little by little. Slowly, at age 95, she got a college degree. Graduated with her granddaughter. And did she stop there? She got a master's degree at 98. They asked her, he said, well, you won't believe it, I've enrolled in summer classes and a couple of classes in the fall. She did not stop learning. Another one. Now this family, I think they're Ghanaians actually. This is a mother and daughter graduating from medical school at the same time. The mother was a nurse. Then she studied, become a nurse practitioner, but she always had a dream of going to medical school. So when her daughter studying the MCAT, she was also studying the MCAT. The daughter went to Louisiana State, and then she went to one of the Caribbean schools. So at age 43, that's when she started medical school. And they both graduated at the same time, and they actually got residencies together. The daughter went into surgery, and she was doing family medicine. It's never too late. So here's what you do. You start where you are. So let's suppose you didn't go to school that much in Ghana, and you say, I want to do something. Maybe you need to do ESL. English as a second language. Maybe that's where you're going to start. Or maybe you want a high school diploma. Well, there's a GED. So help you do that. I'm going to take some classes at the community college. Start taking classes before you know you got an associate degree. Okay, I just finished the community college. Maybe you went there for some training or whatever. Well, maybe I registered at the local 4-year college, and you keep working at it. Before you know it, you got a 4-year degree, and you can keep from there. So that's the point, is that you start where you are, and the sky will be a limit. Maybe you went vocational training. Even vocational training require some college to go, some learning that you have to do. So again, the point I'm making is that there's opportunity to learn at any level where you are, particularly in this country. You see, in Ghana, way back when, you kind of get locked in very early, and then that was it. But here, you get a chance to start over if you need to. Depends on what level that you are. So, again, education is for everybody, for the children, for the grown-ups, everyone. And as I said, successful students are not born, they are made. You can have somebody who is very smart, they don't apply themselves, go back and look 10 years later, they haven't gone anywhere. I know people who dropped out of college, who were very, very good students, but they were not paying attention, they were not doing the work that was required, so at the end of it, they couldn't continue. Maybe they lost a scholarship that they got, and they can't afford it. Oh, I'm going to take a job, I'll come back. Never happens. Again, success requires hard work. I'm going to take a quick break here. Before we take a break, not a break that we're going to go and come back with, it's a transition. The second part, I'm going to talk about a program that I've been doing for forever, almost. We're going to talk about that. But I just want to take a quick break here. Anybody has questions, what we've covered so far yesterday and today, then I will address those questions, comments, etc. So, if anybody want to in here, somebody has a question, or somebody online, or somebody posted something, we can go that. Just take some minutes to address your questions or so get clarification, etc. So, if anybody has a question, you can raise your hand. You have anybody online that has a question? Hold it.
I want to find out whether the ACT and the SAT are requirement for admission into college.
I will get to that in coming up. I'll answer your question shortly.
Okay.
Now, see, here's what happens. Sometimes people will ask questions, and after they finish, they come to me and start asking questions. If you have a question, please ask so that others can also hear. How much time?
How do you control how much?
Talk to my daughters. They're out of graduate school. One is almost done with PhD. And when they were in high school, their phone, because here's what I already told them, that I pay for the phone and I pay the service bill. So I control that. And what it was that there was, in the network system, there was a way to turn off the phone within certain hours. And I did turn them off. Certain hours that the phone basically, now that was before Wi-Fi was easily available. So when the phone went off, it was off. They didn't get calls, they didn't get text messages, and if somebody were to call them, as I said, that the phone did not exist on the network. The point I'm making is that if there's certain time that they're not supposed to use a phone, they should put the phone down. Make sure they put the phone down, and as I said, we make rules, you have to stick with it. So if you say, when you do your homework, the phone should be in this state, turn it off, put it here, and he decide that, no, I'm going to keep the phone with me. You come there, you take the phone, and you keep the phone. First of all, somebody will say, does your kid need a phone when they go to school? No. Somebody say, in case of emergency, your child's at school. Okay? So the point is that you pay for the phone, it is your phone, not your child's phone. And so when you decide that you're going to take the phone away, make sure that if you say you're going to take it away, now make sure that you set the rules. You cannot keep changing the rules. Okay, that's the thing, that if you keep changing the rules, then they want to change the rules also. You need to make sure the rules are established ahead of time. We agree to that. And when the rules are violated, well, you make sure that we honor the rules. And if you do that a few times, they'll get the message. Because after a while, they realize, I want the phone, so I can't do that. That's why it's important that you set the boundaries ahead of time. And then you have to decide whether your child needs, does your 8-year-old child need a phone? No, I'm not going to say yes or no. But again, you make the decision. The point is that children are using more devices, and that is affecting them in so many ways. Go online, check it out, look at news reports, articles, research that's coming out about what our phones and all these little devices, all these iPads are doing to our little kids. Not good. Yes?
Hi, happy Sabbath and thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. I wanted to ask about your journey, your PhD journey in electrical engineering and how you decided on doing a PhD.
Okay, I did a PhD. The PhD part is actually very simple. I didn't want to go to work. Well, it's a longer story. It's a longer story than that. Well, when I was undergraduate, I figured I was going to go to graduate school no matter what. I was not interested in going to work immediately. One, because I wanted certain flexibility. I thought maybe if I decided I want to be a professor, I need a PhD to do that. And I wanted to make sure whatever work that I do, that I have more flexibility. And the higher the level is, the more flexibility that you have in terms of what are some of the things that you work on. And then secondary, I got admission to some of the best universities in the country, so that was a great opportunity, and I got money to pay for it. But after I got there, I realized something else, which was I hadn't thought about it when I got there. Just give you an example. When I got to Stanford, my first year, Stanford's a graduate school. The School of Engineering is a graduate school. They award as many PhDs as bachelor's degrees, so that's heavily. For every one undergraduate, there are 4 graduate students in the graduate school. My class of electrical engineering was about between 160 and 170 students. First year graduate students in electrical engineering. There were 2 black faces, myself and a friend of mine. So you begin to see that. Now, if you look, the number of PhDs, if you look at PhDs in engineering, about 0.5%, less than 1% are black. Less than 1%. And black people are about 12, 13% of the United States. So I begin to see that you are 1% out of 200. And so your success becomes very important. And so you realize that you're not just representing yourself. You're representing all the people who look like you. Now, it really didn't dawn on me until years later. In my work, and we were doing some project, big project. It had Lockheed Martin was the prime contractor, and one of the people that was heading one of the segments that I was in. And we had these meetings, and one time they said, okay, the whole group have to get together. So we had Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and General Dynamics. So the meeting was in Scottsdale. They all came there. So we met like by 8 a.m., the meet and greet type stuff, all these people. So I saw, and too many black people, there maybe 1 or 2 other people. I saw this guy, a little bit younger than me, walking towards me. So I know he was. So he walked up to me, had my badge on, and then he said something. He says, so you are the Pete Okra. Now, yeah, we've been having some meetings, and I saw his name. He was in one of the meetings that he was heading because Lockheed Martin was the prime contractor. So he was there. And he said, well, let me explain to you. What happened was that he is a black guy. He came to Stanford shortly after I graduated. And our department was divided into 7 laboratories, depends on which area of study. He ended up being in the same lab where I was. And the professor said, oh, there was another black guy who was here. I said, well, black people know all the black people. Pete Okra, he finished his PhD. Now, here's what it dawned on me. Let's suppose that when I got to Stanford and I flunked out, what would be the story that it'd be telling? There's one black guy who came here, but he failed. So you gonna be what? The same. So I realized that when I was at Stanford, that basically I wasn't just representing me. I was representing anybody who looks like me. And so it took a whole different level of importance that this is something that I must do. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Any questions? Thank you for the question. All right, any other questions? Okay. All right, you ready to play a video for me? Then we'll go to the next one, and then we'll get time for more questions. Oh, what was his question?
How do you program your kids so that you're able to regulate the time they spend on their device?
The device, as I said, the device is not their device, it's your device. And so you control that. You set the rules with that before you even give them the device.
So is it just for kids who have
for very young kids, they shouldn't have them to begin with. Very young kids should not. In fact, you're better off reading with them, reading to them, than giving them the device to play on it. Okay, and as they get older, when they able to do something, you have to look at how much time that they actually spend on the device. Okay. No, let's just give you. We started.
Hi, my name is Afi and.
Okay, so we put together a website for the program, and one thing that we wanted to do was to, at least for people who are new to the program or want to learn about it, stem from the words from the parents who have been through the program, and then students who have been through the program to tell their own story, to give you a picture. So he's going to play one or two of them for you. Now, this is a couple in Southern California, and their daughter was in the program. Now, is she going to say something they're going to tell you at least their experience. Very short clip. I don't know which other clip.
I am Kofi Antubam. We are parents of Danielle, who was a former student of this program.
Yeah, so some of the benefits of this program is that our daughter learned how to manage her time. She was able to wake up early and start her work, and she learned the basics of arithmetic, and then also she learned to work smarter and faster. And even though it was tough, she did the work and she was successful.
So, we got to know about this program when Dr. Okra visited, and we talked about the challenges our daughter was having with arithmetic. And I remember Dr. Okra started by asking Susan, his daughter, to help her until she was able to enroll into this program. And when she enrolled, I realized that it made a huge difference for our daughter. Her math improved, her learning skills in general also improved. And one of the things, the kids always talked about is, oh, Dr. Okra is strict, Dr. Okra is strict. But that strictness, I think, really helped her. And, if you're a parent and you have the opportunity to join this program, I will say you need to take advantage of it. There are challenges. You as a parent cannot relax. You have to be on top of things. You have to work with the students and make sure that it's working for your kid. But it's a nice program, and I will highly encourage you, if you get the opportunity, to join. Thank you, Dr. Okra and the team, for all the great work you continue to do. May God bless you all.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, awesome. My name is Abigail, and I am a securitization attorney in New York City. I first heard about the Okra method when my family and I moved to Arizona in 2008, and was quickly informed by my friends that we went to something called the Okra method every Saturday night. Now, if you know Seventh-day Adventists, we usually don't get our Fridays to do anything because from sunset to sunset Saturday, we are in church. And then, so Saturday evenings is the only time that I used to have free time. But now we were going to the Okra method. However, it was just not about the SAT or the ACT, which is what I initially thought. We learned far-ranging subjects from current events to history and also modern politics, which is what got me interested in law in the first place. The experience that we had at Uncle Peter was him constantly pushing us to form excellence and to achieve excellence in our education and far beyond. The bonds that we created there are what keeps us and allows us to be successful to this time. I have been with Uncle Peter and Dr. Okra with the Okra method for a while, and he has been a mentor to me through undergrad, law school, and even achieving my current job. I highly recommend it because out of everything that you get a lifetime mentor and teacher.
Hi, my name is Astrid, and I am a third-year medical student at the University of California, Los Angeles. I am originally from Ohio, but decided to trade in my winter coat for the much warmer weather of Southern California. I was a part of the program from 2012 to 2017. I found out about the program from Dr. Okra and also knew of students who had gone through the program in years prior. I heard of their success, and honestly, I was excited to join to see where I could go as a result of the program as well. Ultimately, thanks to the help of the program, I earned a full-ride scholarship to Rice University in Houston, Texas, where I completed my undergraduate studies debt-free. So I highly recommend this program, especially for the motivated student who's willing to put in the time and the work. This program is amazing, but you have to be willing to put in the effort. You will get out of it what you put into it. My advice for parents is be prepared to support your students. Yes, it's your student who's going through the program and doing the process, but it will not work without your involvement. And for students, just trust the process. I remember going through, especially in the early years, and thinking, oh my goodness, I have so much to do from school on top of this extra stuff with the program, but the content of the program will prepare you in a way that a traditional high school curriculum may not even prepare you for. And I think that's where this program shines, in preparing you for standardized testing, the college application process. It will truly put you ahead. And I think you will be excited by where you end up as a result.
So we got a number of students. We're recording a number of them, and when you hear their stories, this is stories that they tell themselves. In fact, somebody actually even recorded it. I wasn't even there when they recorded, so whoever Gideon recorded them, they would send me copies, telling their stories. So that's the program I'm going to share with you what I've been doing. So let's see. Okay, so this is a program. It started out by working with a few students in Phoenix. Just initially, I thought it was just a short time, a year or two, working with them. And but then they got friends, and the friends got friends, and then it kept going and going. And then other people who were not in Phoenix heard about it and said, "What can you do for us?" And so we started online stuff. At that time, I was using Skype, and then till Microsoft got hold of Skype and messed it up, and I couldn't use that anymore. And then I found out about Zoom, so I went and bought a Zoom subscription, and that was before COVID, and that was very, very helpful. That I was able to reach more students who were outside the Phoenix area. I got help in 2018. A friend of mine, Dr. Whitaker, she's retired. She used to work as an engineer for NASA. And when I was undergraduate, she was in graduate school. And I said, well, then she said that when she turned 60, she was retiring. And so in 2018, she was turning 60. I said, well, you need something to do. So actually, we had gone to visit with her in Huntsville and talk about what she can do to help. And so she joined the program and working with me. So that's a great help. That even if I'm not there, she'll be teaching. So sometimes students will ask, okay, are you going to be in class? Like back in October, I was in Ghana, and they were thinking that some of them who knew that I was going to Ghana, a few of those, they thought we're not going to have class. I said, well, did you get an email that there's no class? so we had class. So he's a co-director. Now, I'm not going to live forever. Actually, I want to retire. So we need to keep the program going. So what we've done is to bring in some of our former students, including my kids, my own kids, in the program. So they come to teach every once in a while. So they're going to take it over and continue with the work. And in fact, sometimes when they teach, sometimes some of the students even like them better than us because they are closer in age to them, so they understand them better. They learn the same way and they teach the same way. If I want a student to send me an email when one of my daughters taught one of the math class, they said, well, he teaches like the way you teach. Well, they learned it from me, so we're going to keep it going. So here's the goal. The goal, first of all, is one, to completely prepare them for the SAT and the ACT and the college application process. It's not just a test, but also the application process, and to help them to get into the college or university of their choice, and then hopefully get some money to pay for it. You're somebody who got a full scholarship. There's another student who is in medical school in a program in Detroit where the program that she got into was we call MedStat program. Basically, you are admitted as a freshman, and if you meet certain standards, you get automatic admission to the medical school. And so she chose that program, and so right now she's a first year medical school. And guess what? It came with a full scholarship. So her undergraduate and the medical school all covered by a scholarship. So she's going to get out of medical school with zero debt. And so again, this is what we're trying to do, help you get places. But you heard them talk about the skills that they develop, the skills that help them in their school and their career, about setting goals, time management, priorities, building confidence in themselves. There was about 3 weeks ago, one of the elders of the Phoenix Church called me sometime on Saturday afternoon, because I had been traveling quite a bit. I thought he was calling to see why they haven't seen me for a while. But really he was calling was that there was a friend, they had a friend who was visiting from the East Coast. They are not Adventists. They're visiting from the East Coast, and I was at their house. I come to their house to visit with them, and the friend was telling them about Dr. Peter Okro and the program that daughter was. They didn't know that the guy knew me. So we were telling them, oh, yeah, we know him. We can call him right now. Well, that was, he himself, all his three kids went through the program. So the lady said, well, we've been trying to reach him, but we can never get him on the phone. And so that's why he called me and talking to her. Well, what she was telling me was that her daughter, who's now a college sophomore, not only how it benefited them for her to get to University of Virginia, which is one of the elite schools, one of the what they call the public Ivies. She got a scholarship to go there. And then what the daughter was saying, that she felt confident that she wasn't intimidated when she got to college, because she realized and she felt that she knew just as well as everybody else there, white kids, Asian kids. And the daughter told her she was taking a course in statistics, and she realized that the stuff that we're covering is stuff that we covered in the statistics segment of the program. So this is, again, what we're trying to do, and we've done for the last 25 years, is to build confident students wherever they go, that they'll be just as good as everybody else. And if you look at the students that we have, at least 95% are black. Yesterday, I showed you the SAT scores and the ACT scores of black students. They're the lowest, very low. But we'll show you data later. Our students score higher than Asian students. Every year, we got at least one or two, one year we got 3 students who scored in the top 1% of the SAT. And when I say top 1%, I mean all the students who took the SAT, their scores were in the top 1%. The students come in not because we do some pre-testing to find the best students. They come in because they want to come in, and all you have to do is say that I want to be part of the program and I want to do the work. That's all it requires. There's no pre-testing. Our goal is to make sure that you do far better than you thought possible. And that's what we've been doing. And as I told you, it requires some commitment. We said the program standards, we have high standards for all our students and parents because it's not just the students showing up. The parents got a part to play. And we have high expectations of all of them, and we demand, and as I say, we make absolute no apologies about it. We tell you what we're going to do, what you need to do, and if you're willing to do it, then you sign up for it. That's it. The several elements, academics, we teach you everything you need to know, at least to do well on the SAT, the ACT, the PSAT, and also do well in school. Because we're going to cover things that maybe you're already done in school, you didn't learn it very well, or didn't teach you very well. Stuff that you're learning right now, that it helps you to, that makes sense. Or stuff that you're going to learn later. So we're going to cover some stuff that later on you'll be taking in the class in school. And that's one of our top students who are very interesting. I think he's a junior now in college. When he came in, he was a smart kid. He was a smart kid, right? So some of the initial stuff that we're doing, probably I knew all this stuff. But then he began to say, now how do we know this? When they finish the program, so we do surveys, but we don't do survey every year. We wait till you finish we're about to finish high school, like in April before you graduate. At that point, you know where you're going to college. So you've been to the program at that time. So you look back to tell us, you can give us inputs from your experience. And someday he said that there's something that he learned a lot more in those areas. And there's something that he never learned in high school, but he realized those things are important. They're topics that we covered. Now, again, that's what we are trying to do. So there's a discipline, and the discipline is for the student that you're going to show up in class. I don't tolerate you can't show up in class late. Because if you look on one of the videos, one of the parents talked about the fact that if you come to class late, I don't allow you to go to Zoom. I control who gets in. So if you show up in class late, you're going to sit in the waiting room for the whole class time. Show up before you get there. Get your work done, turn it in, do the practice, repetition, turn it working on time. And you hear some of them, they will tell you that when I say homework is due at 6 p.m., I mean 6 p.m., not 6:01. Again, it is something that because again, as I tell the students, I like you. That's why I'm doing this for you. If you don't learn it right now, you're going to get somebody who doesn't like you, and they're going to insist those things on you, and the result may not be good for you. So we're teaching something to learn. And then the parent side is a priority. Is this important? Is this important that you want to make sure your child is doing what he or she is supposed to do? And then I said we do end of program survey. After you've gone through the whole time, so then you give it fill out questions for it. And it's done by both the student and the parents. I said we have lecture, so the students come to class, and we teach, and then we do testing. Some of the tests are in class, some of them are student administered tests. Student administered tests is like we send a test to the student, you do it on your own time. We give you the parameters and you turn the test in. And some of the tests are sent to the parent, and you have to follow and then administer the test. About a year and a half ago, we terminated 2 students from the program because the test that we've given the parent to administer, the parent didn't do it. They gave it to the students to do the test. The students cheated on the test, and we found out and we terminated. Now, how did we find out that they were cheating? And the tests are emailed to a parent, I think they're all back here somewhere. They don't know each other. How do we know? Well, what happened was that the test that we give them, the SAT, the ACT, or the PSAT, the actual test, the Ghanaians know Pascal, right? So we give them actual Pascal. And so when the test was formatted, there was a mistake. There were a couple pages that were missing. So the questions that were there, so we got question 8, and the pages were blank. The next question was question 17. So those questions did not exist, they're blank. Well, there was a weekend, so the test actually, those who are they get to take it to the Saturday or Sunday or whatever they want to take it. So the test is scheduled at midnight, it goes out to the parent, and then they administer the test. Saturday I don't get to see it, so Dr. Whitaker monitored the email for people who maybe have a problem. So Saturday morning, she gets an email from a parent who administered the test to her child and realized that there was a blank pages. And so we sent an email that what do we do with those questions? Of course, then she went and checked it. So tell them to skip those questions, and then we send an updated email. Now, how do we? So we got these 2 students. Now, the test went to the parent. The parent's supposed to administer the test, send it back to us. So we got the answer sheets back from the parent's email address, and then we send them the answer key to grade a test. So they grade a test and send it back to us. I told you the question that were completely missing. These 2 students answered those questions correctly. You know what I told the parent? I said, since you could predict that many questions, actually it turned out about 17 questions. You could predict the questions and answer them correctly. Maybe you can give it a number to the next Powerball. Or I mean, it's so ridiculous. Well, what happened was the parent. So if the parent had printed a test and administered the test the way we're supposed to, we had a problem. They didn't do that. So the student looked at the test, saw that this is SAT from this date. They went online, found that test and the answer key, and just copied the answers and submitted it. If they opened the test pack, they've seen that there were questions that were missing. So you, the parent, didn't do what you were supposed to do. So how can I trust you to, and this is something that we have talked about many, many times, the honor code, that you have to do work honestly. And so we end up terminating them from the program. Again, you have a part to play. We covered the subjects that are covered SAT, math, English, primarily, but as you hear somebody, we talk about our topics too in our discussions. Again, it's not a homework program. That is, if your child is having a specific problem in subject they're taking at school, that's something that you deal with that. And the Antobams, they were fortunate that my daughter was available at the time to work with their daughter to help her in the arithmetic. That was way before you joined the program. So if there's some school deficiencies, because we are taking what you already know and then building on that. Okay, that's what we are trying to do, and we have interacted, we have meetings. Again, if you look at the expectation, get the work done, attend class on time, attend meetings, and when we have meetings, the parents are supposed to be there. In fact, there was one parent who got 2 children through the program. One of them got a full scholarship to go to a very top university. There was a meeting they're supposed to attend. No, and I have been watching. He had not been attending the meeting. And one of the meetings was the meeting that we're telling the parents, telling them that if you have another child coming up, send us an email to let us know that you have another child coming up the next year. So since he didn't attend the meeting, guess what? He missed out. And then he's going to call me about a month later. I haven't heard anything about it. Well, you at the meeting? Because if you were, you have gotten. Well, I don't know whether you have a child coming up. And if you have, that's something that you're supposed to do. So again, you have to make sure that you are following what we're doing, you're participating in it. As you saw, it's a 5-year commitment that we are making to you. So we expect the student and parents to make the commitment. So let's look at the 5 years, what happens in the 5 years very quickly. Year 1 is grade 8. Now we started this before COVID because the survey that we're getting from our former students as they finished, some of them say that they wish that they had been part of the program before they started high school. At that time, we were starting grade 9. Because they realized that they wanted to be on a college mindset before they got to high school. Because when you get to high school, you're applying to college, right? Guess what? Your transcript you could submit is going to be your freshman, sophomore, and junior year transcript. So if they had a sense that college is here, it would help us when we start. And some of them also started in grade 9 and realized there were some deficiencies that they wish they had a year before that to fill them. So we created an 8th grade program. And when COVID happened, we realized that it is actually very, very important because the kids did not, a whole lot of things they were supposed to learn, they did not learn. And so we used the 8th grade program to catch up with that. So it's mostly independent. What we do is that there's a weekly stuff to do and there's a bi-monthly stuff. And the weekly stuff, we send the math facts, so these are basic math, fundamental stuff that from primary school and middle school that they're supposed to do. So we send that to the parents. So this morning, the parents who got what time they woke up, there was a sheet and an email, about 10-minute quiz, and then the answer key that goes with it. The parent has to administer the quiz and then submit that to us. And the students get an article that they have to read and send a summary. Now, two of the students got a very, very stern warning about a month and a half ago, because the article that they're supposed to read, this article, typically like New York Times or Washington Post article, they read it and they send a half-page summary. Okay, that's what they're supposed to do every week. And these two students, you know what they sent to me? ChatGPT. And guess what? How did we find out? It hallucinated. So I sent them, the parents, I said, go read. I wrote an email. They didn't bother to read the article. And it hallucinated really, really bad. In fact, the names were not like the... Anyway, so I said, don't do this again. So they do the reading, and then every 2 months they get a book they're supposed to read. Now, these are typical books that 8th grader will be reading, like, Animal Farm, those sort of books. So they read it and then do a summary, and then we send them questions they have to submit. And every 2 months there's a test that we send to the parent to administer, and that's based on the quizzes that they've had throughout those 2 months. The purpose of the 8th grade program really is to make sure that the stuff they're supposed to know in primary school and middle school, those math fundamentals and English fundamentals, they have them before we start high school. And the other part is to demonstrate commitment to the program, following the instructions, getting the work done. And in fact, the way we do things the same way, just like I said, we send a test to the parent to administer. In grade 11 and grade 12, we do the same thing. The SAT test we send to the parents to administer. So we want to make sure that you're engaged in it from the very beginning. And so year 2, so the students are now in grade 9. The class meets for 1 hour every Sunday. So like tomorrow, we are scheduled to leave here and get to finish before 11 a.m. The grade 9 class starts at noon. So hopefully we get home in time to start class. If not, Dr. Whitaker will be there to start the class. And the grade 9 at the beginning, in October, they take the PSAT, the official PSAT. Some school districts don't let grade 9 students take it, so we give them our own PSAT. The segment that we cover in the grade 9, arithmetic, so the arithmetic, pre-algebra, all those middle school stuff, and algebra. And then we begin reading and writing, grammar, punctuation, style, all those things that you need. And then the summer, so from August to October, at the end of it, then we actually go back from our regular class and actually do a 2-hour every week PSAT review, because they're going to take the PSAT in grade 10. And then when they finish the PSAT, we go back. So now year 3, they're in grade 10. Again, the class meets for 1 hour. They take the PSAT at the beginning in October. And then we cover the segments, statistics, probability, geometry and trigonometry, word problems. We still continue with the English stuff. And then we do the review. So so by the time that actually we finish grade 10, the grade 10 program, we have covered at least 90-95% of what they need to do well on the SAT and the ACT. And so they get to grade 11. First of all, the class changes. Now this time we meet 2 hours, because there's a lot more work that we need to do. And they take the PSAT. The last time they get to take it is October of junior year. And then starting this March, they're going to take the SAT, the official SAT, and they take the SAT 3 times and the ACT 3 times. So they're going to take the SAT in March and May, which is the spring of their junior year, and the last SAT they take is August, so at the beginning of their senior year in high school. The ACT they take April, June, and September. The main thing that we do from that point at grade 11 and grade 12 is the review. Just review all the stuff that we've done, all the algebra, arithmetic, trigonometry, geometry, all those stuff, put them together. And then doing a lot of testing, a lot of practice tests. Some that they do on their own, some the parents do, and then official tests. And so at that point, the homework that they get are practice tests. And I tell them that it's not 15 minutes that you used to get before. It's 2.5 hours. The reason that you got 2.5, because the official test is 2.5 hours. So I can't give you work that is less than that. So then the year 5, which is at the beginning of their senior year, is to complete your college applications. We try to get them to complete it by the end of October. So, and in fact, very interesting, some of them start getting admissions even by Thanksgiving. And by Christmas, they're done. They can enjoy their time. And then just before they graduate from high school is when they complete the end of program survey. And then in June, July, we have another meeting with the students, call it college send-off, basically give them some pointers as to some of the things that they expect to see when they get to college, how they deal with them, and all those things. So somebody has a question about the SAT and ACT. Here's why. First of all, why SAT is because it's required for college admission, scholarship, and course placement. Yes, it's true that some of the schools are test optional, that they say don't require that. I'm going to cover that in a minute. What does that mean? Now, some schools require it. They require you to submit SAT or ACT score. And there's some that are test blind, that we don't look at your SAT, ACT score. But even that is a caveat that we'll cover it in a minute. So we don't look at, for example, the University of California system. Not because University of California system wanted to do that. It was the politicians who voted and insisted that they should not use it. Of course, they have other way of using it. I'll get to that in a minute. And then you have the test optional. Test optional does not mean that it's not important. Just to give you an example, in the middle of COVID, Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., right? They had this test optional. But the students that they admitted for their freshman class in 2021, who are going to graduate in 2025, over 90% submitted test scores. Again, that's the only measure that they have to compare with other students. And some of the schools, the top level schools that say they are test optional, one of the things that they require? Your AP scores. So the advanced AP scores are administered by the College Board. So if I have a student, I tell people that if I have a student who got a 5 on AP calculus, I don't care about the SAT score. I can predict that that student took the SAT will get at least 750 on the SAT math. If a student got 5 on the AP English literature or AP American history, whatever, because the high score is 5. So I have that information. Now, even the schools that are test optional, they use, even if they're test optional, these are test blind that they don't require, they still require you to submit your test score if you want to be in a particular program. For example, if you want to be in a school of engineering, they will require that your math score is above a certain level. How do you demonstrate that? With the SAT scores. University of Texas, they had a problem some time back, and the way they got around it was that they're going to admit the top 6% of every high school graduate in the state. But what they didn't tell you is that you only admitted to the School of Humanities. If you want to be in a School of Engineering, guess what? They want your SAT scores. You want to be in a School of Science, they want your... So even at the University of California system, where they say they're test blind, they still use it. And so don't be fooled to think that, I got good grades, and so that should be enough. I showed you yesterday that 50% of high school seniors' GPA is in the A range. So if nobody submitted test scores, how do they pick students? You know how they pick students? First of all, the test optional allow them to get more applications. The schools are businesses. They start picking rich kids who they know they can pay. Let me give you an example. If you went to high school in Tucumcari, New Mexico, anybody know where it is? Okay, so you've never even heard of it. The total high school population is about 1,000. Most of the students are Hispanic. They are very low income. About 90% are on free lunch at the school. So you went to Tucumcari High School, and you got all A's. So all your transcripts are all A's. You applied to Stanford, and then somebody applied from one of the elite prep schools back east. Okay? And they look at you. They wouldn't even look at your application from Tucumcari High. But think about it. So you went to Tucumcari High School, you got good grades, and now you got 1,500 on the SAT. So wait a minute. We want this kid in our school. You see how that works? Because every high school, if you like, go to greatschools.com, at greatschool.org. They rank schools. The university have schools. So schools that have a lot of minority students, poor students, whatever, they don't rank those schools very high. So your application will be rejected out of hand without looking with it. But if you have that test scores, then we know that, this student is good. So that is why you have to make sure that you do well on the test and submit it, and you will shine. Here's the great inflation. So if you look at it, the SAT, this is from the College Board, I copied from one of their documents, that you see the red line is the GPA. The percentage of students with GPA in the A range, high school seniors. You see that line going up? And the SAT score is flat. Great inflation. It's easier to give kids A. When you give a child A, the parent's not going to complain. So that's what the teachers have been doing. This is the ACT. This is from the ACT document. And what they did was that in 2010, they tried to match the grades with the average ACT scores. And as you can see, in 2010, the average GPA is about 3.22. So every kid got a GPA over 3.0 over 4.0. And the average score was 21.0. And as you can see over the years, now if I projected, I showed you data yesterday that it's now less than 20. Okay, so you see that the ACT scores keep coming down. But look at the GPA. The GPA keep going up. In fact, if you look at the data very carefully, if the GPA and the ACT score had tracked, the average ACT score will be around 24 right now. That's how much great inflation is taking place. The schools know that. Now, again, the average GPA has gone up from since 1990, gone on point, almost a full point of what the GPA is. The students any smarter than they were back in 1990? No, they're not. But it's easier to give them grades. Parents don't complain. Child get an A. And so great inflation. And in fact, in the rich schools, all those paying all those big money to send their kids to those expensive private schools, they give all them A's. There's a school in Phoenix that I know of where the average GPA is 3.6 on a 4.0 scale. Are the kids that smart? No, they're not, because I had some of those students in my program. And then they don't release class rank. So the child present test scores, got good grades, and we look at the zip code where the child lives, the child can pay the $80,000, we admit that child. Okay, and as we showed that the scores actually have, the performance has gone down, both on the SAT, ACT, and the NAEP. I showed the data earlier. Now, this is kind of hard to read. Now, this is where, during the COVID time, a lot of schools went to test optional. And some of them were trying to decide whether we want to go back to requiring those tests. And there's one of the articles from the Brown University, one of the Ivy League schools, the president of the university, discussing the issue as to whether they should go. Now, I want you to read it. This is what she said. It says, standardized testing has been criticized as inaccurate predictor of student success. Yet, this is what people have been saying is not a good predictor. It says, yet data show that these tests do reveal useful information about whether a student will, on average, be academically successful at Brown. I showed another article up there from the New York Times that covered the same stuff. Here's what she said. Careful statistical work done by one of Brown faculty members. So they didn't just take the words. They just said, okay, we're going to do it. Brown University decided to do their research themselves. to see what the data says. So, I mean, they have plenty of data they could go by. It says, careful statistical work by one of Brown faculty members showed that students with higher SAT and ACT scores are less likely to encounter academic difficulty at Brown. And the standardized test scores are a much better predictor of academic success than high school grades, which are exceptional for the majority of Brown applicants, but also carry what? The complication of being increasingly subject to grade inflation. Guess what Brown University did? They went back requiring tests. And if you look, a lot of them are now requiring the test course. So why do you want to take both the SAT and the ACT? Traditionally, what happened in this country is that if you live on the coast, like the West Coast or the East Coast, mostly took the SAT. If you live in the middle of the country, you took the ACT. Every school accepts both the SAT and the ACT. The College Board, which administered the SAT, they got together the ACT people to come up with a concordance, so you can compare the test scores. The SAT now is scored between 400 and 1600. The ACT is scored from 1 to 36. But you can compare the scores. So if I get a 34, what's the equivalent on the SAT? They have a concordance to do that. So you take both tests. They're testing the same thing. There's some mechanical issues that are a little different. But you take both tests, and then since you can compare the tests, you pick the one that you got the best score to apply. Another thing that, and why we also make the students take the test multiple times, like 3 SATs, you pick the best score that you get. The more you take it, the better you get, because that's you taking your practicing. There's also another part that is so beautiful. It's called super score. Super score means, like, for example, let's take the SAT. There are 2 parts. There's a math and English. So let's suppose I take the SAT. Let me say I take it 2 times. I take it in May and August. And on the May, I score higher on the math than I do in August. And then I score higher on the English in August than the May. Instead of taking one of those dates, they will take your math from May and your English from August and combine them and give you an even bigger score. Now, if you took the test one time, you don't get that advantage. You also don't get the advantage of practicing. Let's see. I think we're almost there. Okay. So now somebody says about how our students do. Now, there's a lot of slides followed that don't show that. I'm just showing the 2022 because we're doing some other analysis. So this is a class of 2022, so the students who completed high school in 2022. Now, this is the average scores. So you see black students, what the average score on the SAT and the ACT, and white, Hispanic, Asian, and these are our student test scores in 2022. Okay? And you can show that for every year, that show that our student test scores are higher even than, and as I said, 95% of our students are black. And so sometimes it tells you that, you know, black students don't do well on the SAT. That's nonsense because they don't prepare for it. Now, last slide. These are some of the schools that in the last, since 2020, our students have been accepted to. So look through there and see what schools. You see the top universities there. You see Cornell, you see Georgetown, you see Stanford, you see University of Chicago, all those things. You see the top liberal arts schools, Amherst, Oberlin, Reed, Swarthmore, all that stuff. You see the top state universities. You see Berkeley, University of Illinois, you know, all of that. The HBCU, Historical Black University, your average state university. The point is that we are working with students, trying to do for them to do the best that they can so they can get in the place where they want to get to. So what I ask parents is that, where do you want your child to go? Where do you want your child to go to school? And if you're committed to doing what it takes for your child to get there. That's the work that we are doing. Again, I start with the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. The video yesterday, those of you who got a chance to see it, that a bridge that was built very, very nice, it lasted only 4 months and it ripped apart because there were certain things that were not taken care of. And so the cost of correcting the mistake, as you saw the bridge, when they had to replace, it took almost 10 years to replace the bridge, and it took almost 3 times as much to rebuild the bridge. So what are we doing for our kids? Sometimes it may not be possible to even fix the problem. So this comes to the end of the presentation. Thank you very much. If you you allow me to talk, I'll talk the whole day. So if there are any questions, comments?
So don't go. There's one second, hold on. So there's a question online from Brittany, and her question is, can a 6th grader join your program?
No. You have to, because we keep the students at the same level, regardless of the level of performance that you are, because we teaching them the same thing. And for example, we had a problem whereby a parent lied about it and put a 7th grader in the program with the 8th grade student. That means that that student will take the SAT in grade 10 and grade 11, which is not ideal. So we wanted to stay, so sometimes people ask, okay, my child is doing well, he's taking advanced geometry, he's grade 7. No, we keep everybody at the same level and march them through to finish at the same time. And so that 6th grader, they can do a lot of work. Like I said, there are practice books, all this stuff, and they can join when they finish grade 7. Actually, we take them in as soon as they finish grade 7, and then we spend the summer doing some groundwork and then start grade 8. So.
Thank you so much. You have a question?
Up to how many times are you permitted to take the test?
You can take it as many times as you want. They typically every year offer about 6 or 7 times, and so you can take now. The reason why we don't let them take it 3 times that's not the first time they're taking it. Remember I was showing you the PSAT. The PSAT is administered by the same people, and so very much like the SAT. So they get enough time taking the test. But the official test, and we space it in such a way that you take the SAT in March. You take it in May. So when you take it in March, even back in the day where they had to grade it, now they do it electronic, the scores come in quicker. But even that, you still get 2 months to prepare to take the next test. Because if I gave you a test today, I gave you the same test tomorrow, there wouldn't be that much of a change in score. And you get to see the progression. And then particularly the summertime, when they are home, they do a lot of work. So in fact, most of our students, their best score is in the August test score, because they've taken the test 2 times, they get a summer, and they work like crazy. The same thing with the ACT. They take it in April, June, and then September.
Thank you. So there are a couple of questions. I'm going to go around quickly. There's one question that I actually know the answer to.
Okay.
So someone asked, how much does it cost? And the answer is, it doesn't cost a thing. It's free. This is a donation of Dr. Oker's time and just his passion. So the answer to your question, how much does it cost, is free if you can get in, right? I don't know if you have a quota of students you take every year.
About 25.
25 every year?
Yes.
Okay. So those who are interested, there are only 25 slots. So, yeah. So there are 2 other questions I'm going to quickly ask. Can you start if you are in high school already?
No.
And okay, so hold on. And then the second part to that is, how is the structure of the class, and are they taught based on grade level, or all the grades mixed?
No. So I told you we have a class for 4 hours. So like right now, I told you our 12th graders are done. So the class 12 o'clock, so noon. That's the grade 9 students, only grade 9 students for 1 hour. And then 1 p.m. is the grade 10 students for 1 hour. And then 2 p.m., the grade 11 students for 2 hours. So they're not mixed. Back when I started, way back when, there weren't that many students that would meet at my house. So that one, I could mix them up because I could get different students doing different things. But right now, it's quite structured.
Perfect.
So they're grouped by grades.
All right, thank you. I will come to Eldade and then Morty. I just asked those questions.
Bios. Well, my question is on the video, you show something that someone have to go and then study with, your daughter before getting. Does it mean that, there's some prerequisites?
No, there's no prerequisites. What happened that the daughter was not quite at the grade level to join the program.
Okay.
But she was having some problems, so they were, just I visited and here talking about the daughter was having some some problems at school, in the class, whatever. And then so my daughter, who's now almost a PhD finishing, was there with us. And so she volunteered that she would work with their daughter to help her with her schoolwork. And so they were meeting separately until that she was at the proper age to join the program. So that was something that my daughter volunteered to work with. Yeah, she was undergrad. My daughter was undergraduate. She was in college at the time, and so she was working with their daughter. Okay.
Doctor. Yeah. First off, I just want to say thank you. This has been very educative. I have a question. So, you mentioned how relevant a parent's involvement in the program, and you take that very seriously. What if there is a student very serious, but their parents, whatever the situation is not able to, keep up with this whole thing, and is not able to.
I'll address that question in two ways. Okay, the first way, probably, I don't know whether you were thinking about it or not. What if I have a parent who's not educated, who can't do all this stuff? I had a student. I got a call one time, and I listened. There was two messages. There was two women, two different women, different names. But then after I listened, I realized they were talking about the same, like they were asking about the program. After they were talking about the same thing. After I found out, it was this lady who had found out a program, and her older sister had a daughter that could join the program, so she wanted her to join the program. That's what it was. So when we met, so that time they came to my house, we met to discuss the program with us. The mother was, the aunt with the younger one was gone to college, but the mother had never went to college. She worked as a cashier at Walmart. Now in a conversation, this is what she said. She said, look, I didn't go to college, I don't have that much education, I don't know what to do. You tell me what to do, and I'll do that. So what I told her that, just make sure that your daughter comes to class on time, because you have to drive her there. And then the test, that you print the test, watch her take the test, and when it's done, if you don't know, she can help you to scan the test and send to us. Fast forward, so this student was finished high school in 2020. So in 2020, January, we have this meeting, every 6 months we have a meeting. And so the January meeting, there's a first week of January, Sunday. So the students and all the parents will come to the house, and one of the fun parts, they have to cook food and bring it. The students themselves, you can't get your parents cook it. Otherwise, your little sister would tell on you, because they usually came with the whole family. So the girl was now 12th grade, so she's about to graduate. And so the aunt started so that Saturday, because it was that Saturday, they had gone to a program at one of the fancy hotels in Phoenix, where these colleges, when they admit students, some of the early admits, whatever, they come there, try to recruit, make sure that you actually sign up to come. So it was Notre Dame. So she had been accepted on the early rounds of Notre Dame admission and given her a full scholarship. They invited her to come to this thing at this place. And the aunt said, we went over there, and there was only one other black student there. The mother said, I have to tell my story. That's what she said. She said, that's when she realized education is the great equalizer. Because when they went there in that room with all these people, they knew well the way they're dressed and all this stuff. These are rich white kids. But here her daughter was among this group. Now, then she started, when they started, right, the first thing she told me that she didn't have much education, just tell her what to do, and that's what she did. And she said there were times that, at the very beginning, that she had to argue with her daughter. Because her daughter felt that my Saturday evening, and I'm doing well in school, blah, blah, blah. Well, at this point, the mother started crying, as she telling the story. And the daughter started crying. Then the daughter said, well, I have to tell my story. And then she told her that at first she didn't want to come to the program. Because her friends, they got their Saturday evening, why do I have to go to somebody's house? But she said that what actually changed her, that her mother told her that if you don't want to do it, I'll call Dr. Okra and say that you're not coming again. At that point, she realized that the mother was very serious. This is very, very important to her. Because when she came to the program, she said, I'm a single mother, didn't go to college, 3 kids, and the daughter was the oldest. And she saw how important it was to her mother. That's when she realized she needed to do what it takes. And at this point, what? She said, now here, this is January. In fact, most colleges, the top colleges, their deadline is January 1. This is before January 1. She had been accepted at Notre Dame with a full scholarship to study engineering. About 2 weeks later, she called me and she said, guess what? They invited my mom and me to come to the engineering school open house at Notre Dame. And guess who's paying for the trip? The school. The airfare, hotel, meals, everything. Okay. Now, how about somebody who, like your parent is not serious, but you're serious? Well, it doesn't have to be your parent. Go find another adult who agreed to do the quizzes, to administer the tests, all those things. And because I need somebody who do that, because I cannot send the test to you to take the test. I need a student to what? Supervise the test to make sure that it gets done. So that's how we cover that. It requires a parental unit in the program. I hope I answered the question. Okay, thank you.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
I guess my first one is, how do you sign up?
How do you sign up?
And the second one is, will you ever consider, since you have your daughters and people who are helping you, to help other kids who are not at that grade level yet, but are struggling in school and could potentially benefit from some tutoring or some methods that could potentially help them?
Okay. All right.
So before you answer, I'll add another question from
Okay.
Facebook. Someone's asking if you have a website.
Okay, answer that question.
I'm working on it, okay? We'll get there soon. Maybe we'll put an ATA of maybe in a month or 2. We should have it up. And the second question is, just in line with her question, how can, like if someone wants to sign up, if someone wants to contact you, they want more information, what's next steps?
Okay. As far as signing up, right, it's getting tighter. The way we do this is that the parents who have kids in the program or had kids in the program and went through the program, they get the first option to sign up their kids. So that's number 1. And then number 2 is when the rest, you can other parents can actually sponsor other families in the program. Here's the reason why we do that. I had a parent whose child went through the program, and the son got a full scholarship to go to Virginia Tech. And the next year, the mother gave her 3 names by people who wanted to be in the program. And so we talked to them when they started the program. Within a few months as we started, 2 of them dropped out. In the meantime, we have closed the class. So 2 wasted slots. So I actually talked to the lady and I said, why did you do that? And she said, she attends a church, and the church, everybody knew that her son got into Virginia Tech and all that, everybody wanted to know how he did it. And so she couldn't refuse. She gave the information to those people. And she said, I knew 2 of them were not serious, but I couldn't say I'm not going to give you the information. By going to the sponsorship, what that we put in, because I don't know these people, so I'm putting the responsibility on the parent who've been through the program. You know what it takes. That you talk to the family that you think you want to help, you talk to them. And you are essentially being their guarantor in the sense that, and you can only do it for 1 family. So that everybody gets, so the next one is sponsorship. Then the last one is that people who heard me speak somewhere else and they want to learn about it, then we can talk to you, but that becomes the third one. But that part still requires that you understand. So this stuff I just gave you is like just scratching the surface. That you have to know about it. And that's part of the reason why we're going to put the website. We'll have the videos there and all those things, so that you get a very good picture. Because one of the things that we found that there's some people who are interested in the result. They like the fact that kids do very well on the SAT, ACT. The fact that they get into these colleges and universities. The fact that some of them eventually get to whatever profession, medicals, whatever they wanted to do. They like that. Everybody likes success. But there is no free lunch. Success requires hard work. And are you as a parent willing to do that? If your child willing to do that, have you convinced your child that this is important, that you want to do that? And that part is what I want to see before you get it. The student parents who kids going through the program, I have one parent, he got 4 kids that went through the program. And they got a 5th one coming. In fact, when the 4th one, when she graduated, the day she called me up and said, well, asked me if I was going to be home one particular day. And I said, yeah, I'll be home. I'm working from home that day. She came. She came to the house. Now, that was the day that the parents were taking her to college. But she wanted to come back to say hi the first time, for the last time. Because she was one of those students who started before COVID. So she used to come to my house, and then COVID happened, and she missed the fact that she come to the house. So she wanted to come by us. When she came, she had a painting, because she liked painting. So she had this real paint on a real canvas paint, real acrylic paint, and very beautiful paint. And on the back, she signed her name in the front. The back, she wrote the family name, and she had years there. All the 4 kids, each year that they finished the program. And she got a younger sister. So can't wait for her. She said, she said, I can't wait to join the program. That's good. She had 4 of her older siblings went to the program. So it is that commitment, first of all. So it's not random. So people say, how do we get it? There'll be an email address that you can send. So how we do this?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
I can, if you would like to have access to the email address, we will provide a link on the Seattle Ghanaian SDA website. I'll have a page dedicated and some contact information. I'll create a page so you can visit maybe tomorrow evening. Visit seattleghana.sda.com, and then you can have access to it.
Okay. Did I miss one more question you had? Did I answer all your questions? Struggling students. Okay, I can't make my kids do anything because they're not older people. But there are things that we can talk about. Okay. Okay, we got 2 questions back there. Hey, don't forget.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm about to go back. I still need to add this question. I've seen that you've dedicated your life for this for quite some time now. I want to know, is there someone that you are mentoring to succeed you?
Yes, the former students are taking over.
Okay.
So it will continue after us.
All right, that's my question.
Okay.
It's very, very important.
Actually, AJ had a question also? I saw your hand up. I think he has a...
All right. Sponsorship or donation wise, I know you mentioned the program is free, but is there anything if people want to contribute to it? Is there anything like that?
We don't take any donations. I think that maybe once we get the website going and all that stuff, if we need ways to maintain all for the.
I'll take donations. If you don't want it, I'll take it.
or in the future for those who come. But for now, we don't. There's no. There's absolute no. Say what? Well, we keep a lot of stuff, and then we got backups and all that. Like I said, we use Zoom. I pay for it. All the paper printing, all this stuff. And actually, way back when, my Phoenix students actually used to take the test at home, at my house. So I used to go to Kinko's, whatever, and print the test, and they used to do that. But all the work is like I said, the way I look at it, it's not free. It just doesn't cost you anything to be part of it. That it is something that we give to you. And to me, it's an investment that I'm making. And the reason I'm very serious also about it is that I am making an investment. And anybody who makes an investment expects to get a return. My return is that you become very successful. So I'm serious about it, that you do what I need you to do so that my investment of time in you is worth the effort that I'm putting into it. I hope that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, Doc, thank you. So before you retire, can you, in future, think about maybe extending it to our brothers and sisters back home? Maybe I just wanted to.
I have a student who joined the class from Ghana.
Yeah, maybe if there's the need for sponsorship, I think people might be willing to.
Well, the challenge in Ghana for somebody, because I live here, and it's a 7-hour time zone, and then internet access is still a problem there about the students being able to access it. Like I said, part of it, even if they're not coming to school to the United States, whatever, the idea that you are learning something, learning skills, learning knowledge, all of that is very, very beneficial. But for now, like I said, one of the challenges is even access or online access. It's still very expensive, even in Accra and Kumasi. AJ, go ahead. Go ahead.
I have to give it to him.
Yeah. One of the things that Peter early on explored was trying to set up working with parents so that they could get the skill set and being able to do some of these activities themselves. That didn't work, but that might be an option for other groups. I don't know if Peter's going to entertain that, but some of the things, a lot of things that you can do yourself. Some of the workbooks like Peter mentioned that you can get at Costco. If you start working, working with those books, those are things that we did with our kids when they were younger, is we went and we supplemented. We found stuff online and we did the material, we figured out which worked. We set up our expectations for our kids at certain levels. We didn't let the school set up the expectations. And that really helped a lot, so that when Peter did start doing this program, the kids were ready. But we had already been doing supplemental work before they got into this program.
You got to speak next. You got to speak. Don't give it to anybody else.
Okay, thank you for. The first question is, you said that you have 25 slots.
It's flexible. But
yeah. That's what I was just going to ask you. Is there any reason why you chose 25?
Well, we picked a number that's easy to handle, because when a class gets too big, when I was doing it by myself, I wasn't taking that many students. But when my friend joined the program, then that allowed division of labor, so we could handle more students. And with the sponsorship and then also former parents, we have very few that drop out, because people who are coming in know why they're coming in, and the conversation that take place ahead of time, that has helped tremendously. So when we do the number, and typically we get around there about 25, and then we cut it off. So.
Okay, then the next question is, what? Thanks. Is it for only Adventists? And do you go to other denominations to do the same program?
Yes. Anywhere they invite me at the. Yes, in fact, I am supposed to be in Hartford, Connecticut, end of May, to do a program at church. I did a program for the Pentecost Church in Phoenix, and then the whole segment in Colorado. So anybody who calls me, I'm there to. It's not just Adventists, not just Ghanaians. Actually, most of them are not Ghanaians, and most of them are people I don't know. I never met them before. So in fact, sometimes I go to places and people recognize before I recognize them. So it is who may come. That's how we work this. So.
Okay, Doctor. The last question was from him. It wasn't from me. It was from him.
All right. I'm gonna take one more question, and we're gonna wrap it up. Any last question? You have one? Is there something online? Sorry?
Nope.
Is there a waiting list?
We don't do a waiting list.
We don't do waiting lists.
When it comes to registration, we just start registering, and we hit the limit, we stop it.
First come, first serve. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up, so I'm going to invite Pastor Ensu to come up. I think it would be amiss of us if we did not show our deepest and profound appreciation for, someone take a picture, for Dr. Okra and his sacrifice, traveling all the way from Phoenix, Arizona here to join us. As a church, we are very grateful. And on behalf of the church, I'll let Pastor say a few words, but we brought this small token of appreciation that we hope you can use to remember us.
God is good, and all the time. If you really are blessed today because of what God has used Dr. Okra to give to us, why don't you say amen? Amen. God bless you. Let's say that. God bless you, Doc. God bless you so much. Yeah, so as Eda said, the church has a token of appreciation. Every time you take it, it just remember that we do appreciate what you came to do for us. So it says that Dr. Peter Okra for outstanding leadership in education. Amen.
All right, I'm going to ask Mrs. Okra if you could just stand. We want to get a picture of both of you. So, just a picture. Oh, okay.
Let's finish with a word of prayer.
Okay.
Before, okay. Please, let's rise. Our Father in heaven, we want to thank you so much. Your standard for us is higher than the highest heaven. And you have used your servant to actually reveal this fact and reiterate it to us again. Lord, we want to thank you that we have people who can dedicate their lives to be a blessing for so many. We also want to thank you for people who have taken this advantage and availed themselves to this opportunity and are doing well, and society can count on them. Father, as he continues this ministry, we pray that your blessings and mercies will be upon him. Whatever he needs, Lord, grant unto him. We pray for traveling mercies for him all the time. We also ask for increased wisdom and understanding. Help him to challenge our youth, our children today, and even help him to challenge us, the parents, as well. We ask that, Father, his ministry will be a blessing for the whole nation. And so bless the ministry today, bless the church, and help us be able to make good use of the information he has imparted to us. Lord, we bless you because we know that you'll also bless all our audience, those who are watching us on YouTube and other media platforms. Lord, bless each and every one. And we commit our lives unto you for the week to come, trusting that, Lord, in your infinite goodness, you will see us through. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, we'll just take a quick picture. Please be seated.